Today, I will summarize what is considered by many as the #1 personal finances book of all time. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. In this book, the author, Robert Kiyosaki, says he has two fathers. One is his biological father, who had a PhD and was a college professor. The other is the father of his best friend, who didn't even finish his high school but learned everything through practical experience. In the beginning, both fathers earned enough money, but when they died, one died as the richest man in Hawaii, leaving millions of dollars to his family, and the other left debts and unpaid taxes to his family. Kiyosaki says that making money is a science not taught in schools. Schools teach us how to be employees and build a career, which is why most parents pass on similar advice to their children to become employees. If you come from a middle-class family, there's a high probability that your parents taught you to be poor. This isn't because they don't want you to succeed, but because they themselves are not educated in this subject. They consumed outdated information, and when you were born, they passed on the same outdated information to you. Poverty is almost like genetics, passing from one generation to another. My parents always advised me to study hard, get a diploma, and find a stable job. However, when I started reading books like this one, I realized I learned more from some of these books than in my entire college years. If you also come from a middle-class family and haven't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, then I strongly recommend you read it. I wish someone had recommended it to me when I was 14 or 15. Many things could have been positively different in my life if I had read it earlier. In this video, I will talk about 7 main ideas from this book. The first idea is about the importance of financial education and understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. Understanding this difference is the most crucial step to getting rich. In simple terms, assets are something that puts money in your pocket, and liabilities are something that takes money out of your pocket. For example, if you have a car and rent it out, earning money every month, then this is an asset. But if you have a car that takes money out of your pocket every month for repairs, maintenance, etc., then it's a liability. Examples of assets can be rental properties, company stocks, precious metals, etc. And liabilities are your house you live in, the phone, the car you drive, etc. Rich people focus on increasing their assets, while poor people buy liabilities and focus on their income. Poor people buy their iPhone, and rich people buy financial stocks of Apple, which are an asset and increase in value over time. But the phone loses its value the moment you take it out of a store. Growing assets are like planting a tree. You have to nurture it for years until its roots are deep enough to provide shade and bear fruit for your enjoyment. Many people want to get rich quickly without learning about money. It's like building a skyscraper with little or any foundation. That's why you see people who make tons of money but lose it all after a few years. The second idea is this: the rich don't work for money. Their money works for them. At a very young age, Robert had his first business partner, his schoolmate, Mike. They worked for the rich dad who taught them lessons on how to make money. The first rule they learned was that the rich don't work hard for money. Their money works hard for them. Rich people use their brains and find ways for their money to work for them 24 hours a day. From a rich person's perspective, every dollar earned becomes a small employee working hard to earn another. The poor and the middle class are guided by fear or desire. They fear not being able to pay their bills, so they work even harder. Or when they earn more money, their desire kicks in and they start spending it on liabilities like nicer cars, bigger houses, etc. And because of these fears and desires, they don't want to invest their money and time in new opportunities. They fear losing their money if they risk it, so they go to buy a bigger flat screen TV, even if they already had one. In comparison, a rich person invests their money no matter what, and even if they lose all the money, they still come out ahead because at least they earned something. And this knowledge becomes a valuable asset for their future investments. On the other hand, the TV loses most of its value after a few months, and you end up losing your money anyway, plus missing the opportunity to learn something new. The third idea idea is about understanding taxes, accounting, and law. According to Kiyosaki, earning a lot of money doesn't solve problems. Learning how to keep that money after earning it solves the problems. If a rich person earns $100,000, then they keep it all. But if a poor or middle-class person earns $100,000, then a significant portion is taxed, and they lose between 30 and 40%. Kiyosaki explains that initially there were no taxes, and the government created taxes to punish the rich and give to the poor. The government used the Robin Hood mentality, and people supported it, but the rich were smarter and found legal ways not to pay taxes. One of the big differences is that the poor and the middle class earned money, paid taxes on that money, and live on what's left. The rich, on the other hand, earn money, spend as much as they can, and pay taxes on what's left. Fourth idea: the rich invent money. The author says that every person is born with talent, but that talent is suppressed due to debt and fear. He comments that it's not necessarily the most smart and educated people who succeed in life, but the bold and adventurous ones. Some people never succeed financially, even if they have a lot of money, because they have opportunities they can't take advantage of due to the fear and doubt. Most of them sit and wait for the opportunity. The author's idea is that people create luck. They shouldn't wait for it. He says it's the same with money. It must be created. Fifth idea: work to learn. Don't work for money. Kiyosaki says his poor father was smart, well-educated, and worked for money because job security was everything to him. His rich father became a millionaire working to learn. The author recommends young people to look for a job where they will learn more than they will earn, especially in areas like sales, communication, marketing, accounting, leadership, etc. During an interview with a journalist, Robert Kiyosaki found out that the journalist struggled to become the best-selling author. He realized she was a great writer and should stick with it. She told him she had tried, but no one was interested. He accidentally offended her when he suggested take a sales course so she could promote herself. She got defensive and responded, "I have a master's degree in English literature. Why would I go to school to learn how to be a salesperson? I'm a professional. I went to school to train for a profession, so I wouldn't have to be a salesperson. I hate salespeople. All they want is money." She packed up her things. Robert Kiyosaki gently pointed out that he was the best-selling author, not the best-written author. This statement only angered her even more, and the interview ended. The world has many successful and talented people, doctors, lawyers, dentists, and yet they struggled financially. But as a wise business consultant once said, they are one skill away from great wealth. If you take your skill set and combine it with financial intelligence, accounting, investment, marketing, or law, you could achieve great wealth. If a journalist had chosen a job in an advertising agency to learn how to sell, she could continue to create great wealth with her writing. The rich dad says you have to know a little about a lot. In school and at work, you are expected to specialize. Those who get promotions are often specialists. However, Robert Kiyosaki's rich dad always recommended the opposite. That's why, over the years, Robert would work in different areas of rich dad's company. He was expected to attend meetings with lawyers, bankers, and accountants. For the rich dad, it was essential that Robert knew all aspects of building an empire. Idea 6. People who avoid failure also avoid success. Most people never win because they are afraid of losing or failing. If you observe how humans are designed to learn, we learn by making mistakes. We learn to walk by failing. If we never fail, we would never walk. The same is true for learning to ride a bike, and the same is true for getting rich. Failure is part of the process of success. Kiyosaki says, "I see my money game as much as my tennis game. I play hard, make mistakes, correct, make more mistakes, correct, and improve. If I lose the game, I reach the net, shake my opponent's hand, smile, and say, "See you next day." Personally, I know many people who have tried to start their own business but failed and finally gave up after 3 or 4 failures. I am always surprised at how these people expected to succeed after a few tries. Quitting after 3 or 4 failures is like starting to go to the gym to get fit, but after a few days you stop going because you don't see any results. If you want to get fit, you have to be consistent. You have to change your exercise routine if it's not effective. You have to try a different diet. You have to try a different trainer until you find what works for you. However, people don't apply the same mindset when it comes to being financially fit. Idea 7. Don't focus on your income. Focus on your assets. The rich in the long run build their asset column first, and only then do the incomes generated by the assets column buy their luxuries. The poor and the middle class buy luxuries with their own sweat and blood. In other words, if a rich person wants to buy a luxury car, they don't buy it immediately. First, they buy assets like businesses or real estate, and if the assets generate good income, they use it to buy the car. They always focus on the asset first. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends and family who might benefit from this information. And remember, with reading and education, life is always so much better.